Have you ever walked through a door and suddenly forgotten what you were about to do? Yes, this happens to all of us. And it's not just a random occurrence, it's backed by science. So why does this happen when we pass through a doorway? Let's dive into the fascinating scientific explanation behind it. The phenomenon we're talking about is called the doorway effect. The name comes from a simple observation. When we walk through a door, we often forget the thoughts or plans we had in the previous room. It's something that almost everyone has experienced, but the deeper scientific explanation might surprise you. When we walk through a doorway, our brains perceive it as entering a new environment. This environmental shift triggers the brain to update and adjust to the new surroundings. It's not just a physical door we're crossing, but also a mental boundary. As a result, the thoughts or information we were holding in our working memory become less accessible. This is part of our brain's natural strategy for adapting to new contexts. The working memory in our brain is responsible for temporarily holding and processing information. When we cross a threshold, our brain performs a kind of reset, discarding the old information that may no longer be relevant to the new environment. This is done to make room for the new context we are now in. An important concept in memory research is encoding retrieval mismatch. When we encode memories, the context plays a significant role. Our brains associate information with the environment in which it was acquired, and this context can make recalling that information easier. However, when we change environments, such as walking through a door, the brain struggles to retrieve the information from the previous setting. This effect has been studied extensively in scientific experiments. For example, in a study by Radvansky and Copeland, participants were given tasks where they had to remember objects while moving between rooms. The results showed that participants had poorer memory performance when they crossed a doorway. This proved that the doorway effect is a real and observable phenomenon. Our brain's working memory processes information rapidly and temporarily stores it. When we pass through a door, the brain performs a kind of reset where previous thoughts are temporarily discarded or made less accessible. This helps the brain adjust to the new environment and focus on the new context at hand. The doorway effect isn't just related to physical environments, it's also about mental boundaries. A change in context, whether physical or cognitive, leads the brain to close the door on previous thoughts and focus on the new information. So it's not just about crossing a threshold in a physical space, but also about the shift in mental processing that occurs. That said, the doorway effect doesn't always happen. If you're deeply focused on something, the effect can be diminished. When you're engaged in a complex task or have a specific goal, the brain may prioritize retaining that information, even when crossing a boundary. But in most cases, when we change environments or tasks, this temporary forgetting occurs. So, next time you forget something when walking through a door, remember, it's not just a random memory lapse. It's your brain performing a reset, helping you adapt to the new context you're entering. Understanding the science behind this phenomenon gives us a whole new perspective on our daily experiences.